Welcome back. So for years, really, we've talked about crypto mostly as, an investment,
Mhm.
speculation, volatility.
Right, the headlines were always about the price swings.
Exactly. But the sources we dug into for this deep dive, they really show that 2025 is, well, it's the turning point. Crypto's kind of crossed over.
Really has.
We're not just talking about some, wild future idea anymore. This is real-world commerce happening now. So, our mission today is to break down how Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP are actually being used.
Uh,
For everything from your morning coffee right up to buying a Bugatti. And maybe most importantly, what finally pushed businesses globally to adopt this? What's the incentive?
and it's a huge shift. It's not random either. It
Yeah.
seems pretty organized around, let's call them the big three assets.
Okay.
Each one has found its own sort of commercial niche now that spending is actually the goal, not just holding.
Right.
So first up, you've got Bitcoin, BTC. Still the big one, the digital gold, the most trusted. Its role in commerce seems to be mainly for those large, high-value kind of status purchases where trust really matters.
Makes sense.
Then there's Ethereum, ETH. That's more like the utility layer. It's the engine for programmable money, smart contract services, really key for digital stuff, but also more complex retail transactions.
Gotcha. Utility.
And third, and this one's super important for how goods actually move around the world, is XRP. It's all about speed and settlement.
The speed demon.
Pretty much. It's built for instant finality, especially across borders. So it's becoming the go-to for moving large amounts of value fast, without waiting on the old banking system.
Okay, let's unpack that. Maybe starting small, though.
Right.
The sources definitely show people moving away from just chilling forever.
Yeah, the spending is happening.
But the big question I always hear is, why would I, the consumer, spend something I might have to pay capital gains tax on later? That seems like a hurdle.
It's a totally valid question. And the answer, it really lies in how the payment processors have smoothed things out. See, the customer isn't spending BTC just because it's suddenly easy for them. They're spending it because the system now makes it basically risk-free for the merchant.
How does that work exactly? What's the tech?
So the key is companies like BitPay or Flexa with their SPDN app, they're the middleman, essentially.
Okay.
You, the customer, you send your crypto. But that processor, it instantly converts it to fiat currency, dollars, euros, whatever the local currency is.
Right, then and there.
Within seconds. And that fiat is what lands in the merchant's account. So, two big problems solved for the shop owner. No crypto price swings to worry about,
The volatility risk, yeah.
and no complicated crypto compliance or tax stuff for them to handle. They just get paid in regular money. You get to spend your digital assets.
That makes a huge difference on the business side. So when we see this long list of companies, Starbucks using Byte Refill, all the fast food places via BitPay,
Yeah, Sheetz, Subway, Burger King.
they aren't actually taking a gamble on crypto itself. They're just accepting a payment that's already been converted for them.
Exactly. And the sources actually give us a pretty compelling number. Steak and Shake. They added BTC payments in May 2025, reported an 11% sales boost just from that.
Yeah.
So it's not just, catering to a few tech fans. It's real money coming in.
Wow, 11%. Okay.
And you see major retailers too. Microsoft takes BTC for Xbox stuff. Newegg uses ETH for computer parts. Overstock even takes XRP for furniture. They're plugging in because there's clear demand, and the risk for them is basically gone.
And it's not just online anymore, right? We're seeing big physical stores, AMC theaters taking BTC or ETH for movie tickets.
Yep.
And even places like Home Depot or IKEA, you can use crypto through gift cards or BitPay. It shows it's really spreading everywhere.
The usefulness is becoming obvious.
Yeah.
But I think to really grasp how mature crypto's become, we need to look beyond just buying coffee. We need to look at how it's changing the global financial plumbing.
Ah, the back-end stuff.
Yeah, that infrastructure work is what actually allows all this high-value commerce to even happen.
Okay, let's talk plumbing. Because,
Hey.
moving from a $5 coffee to, say, a $500,000 car,
Right.
the stakes are way higher for everyone involved.
Absolutely. And that's where confidence and liquidity, and especially speed, becomes critical. Which brings us back to XRP.
Right, the cross-border payments.
Traditionally, sending money internationally is painfully slow. It bounces between banks, these correspondent banks.
Good old SWIFT system, yeah. Takes days sometimes.
Exactly. But companies like Mercury FX, Qualix, they're using XRP now. They can just bypass a lot of that old, slow, expensive infrastructure. It cuts down settlement times dramatically for big corporate payments, remittances. I think U.S. to Mexico, huge corridor for that.
So faster, cheaper rails in the background mean the actual trade, the big stuff, can flow much more easily. Makes sense.
And you see that confidence reflected immediately in travel. Travel.com lets you book with like tons of cryptos, including the big three. But the really big signal is high-end airlines getting on board. Air Baltic was early. They've been doing Bitcoin since 2014, proving it works.
Right, a pioneer.
But now, Emirates Airlines launching direct crypto payments via Crypto.com for first-class seats.
Wow, okay. Emirates. That's a statement.
It is. When a luxury brand like Emirates accepts crypto for its premium service, that signals real confidence. Regulatory comfort, institutional maturity. It's almost like using crypto becomes part of the luxury lifestyle itself.
That idea, crypto as a status symbol, the way to transact status, that perfectly explains why the luxury goods market is all in.
Totally.
I mean, we're talking Bugattis here. Post-Oak Motor Cars in the U.S., they sell Rolls-Royce, Bentley, Bugatti takes payments via BitPay. And then there's Bitcars in Europe, which is only crypto for supercars. The market's clearly there.
And it's smart marketing too, right? If you're Gucci or Ralph Lauren accepting BTC or ETH in your flagship store,
Yeah.
that's a nod to a certain type of wealthy, tech-savvy customer.
Yeah, signals you're on their wavelength.
It confirms that these digital assets aren't just monopoly money anymore. They're seen as legitimate, long-term wealth. Wealth you can use to buy serious assets, like property. We're seeing developers in Dubai, Miami, Lisbon taking BTC and ETH for real estate deals.
Okay, so we've got consumer spending, global infrastructure supporting it, even for huge purchases. But what about the companies themselves? Are they just passing the crypto through, converting it instantly? Or are they actually holding it, integrating it deeper?
Yeah, it's the other piece of the maturity puzzle. Institutional holding, and yes, they are holding it.
Really? On their balance sheet?
Definitely. The sources mention firms like Bitmine, SharpLink Gaming, Vivo Power. They're holding crypto, especially Bitcoin, right on their balance sheets. And not just speculating, they're using it strategically as a hedge, maybe against inflation or just as a liquidity tool.
Yeah.
That kind of institutional belief, holding it as a treasury asset, validates crypto way more than just consumer spending alone.
So if we pull this all together, from the coffee shop getting instant fiat to global settlement networks to companies holding Bitcoin in their treasury, the big story is that crypto finally made the leap from just trading tokens to actual real-world utility and transactions.
Absolutely. The different layers of the ecosystem have kind of settled into their roles based on what they do best, not just hype.
Right.
BTC for trust, big value storage, ETH as the programmable engine for services and complex payments, and XRP locked in for that super fast global settlement.
That feels like a really solid framework. So given how fast things moved in 2025, what's the outlook for, say, 2026? What's next to make it even smoother?
I think we're heading towards even deeper integration, things that feel invisible to the user.
Like what?
Well, expect to see Apple Pay, Google Pay starting to fold in stablecoins, maybe even broader crypto options, right into their existing wallets.
Oh, okay. So you wouldn't even need a separate crypto app necessarily.
Potentially, yeah. And banks, fintechs, they'll probably stop trying to build their own walled crypto gardens and just start plugging in standard crypto payment APIs. Make it a feature, not a separate product.
And the sources mentioned something really interesting that ties back to that friction point we talked about earlier, the AI-driven wallet. How does that make spending easier?
Yeah. That's potentially the game changer for the average person. It solves that which crypto do I use problem.
How so?
Right now, if you want to pay, maybe you have BTC, ETH, some stable coins, you might have to figure out which one is cheapest or fastest for this specific transaction.
Right. Network fees, speed, it can be confusing.
An AI wallet does that calculation for you instantly. It looks at the payment. Is it international? What are the fees right now? How fast does it need to be? And then it just picks the best option. BTC, ETH, XRP is a stablecoin, routes the payment, handles any necessary conversions or bridges behind the scenes. You just hit pay.
So the complexity just disappears for the user.
Exactly. The AI handles the network juggling, the optimization. That could remove the very last barrier for truly mass adoption in retail.
That really does sound like next level convenience. Okay, so to sum it up for you, the listener, digital assets aren't on the fringe anymore. They're being woven into pretty much every level of commerce. Global finance, luxury goods, down to your everyday spending. The adoption feels really widespread and strategic now.
Yeah, it's embedded.
But thinking about all this, the payment processors handling risk, AI wallets handling complexity, it leaves us with a kind of interesting question for you. Knowing all this, would you actually use crypto for like a $2 coffee? Or does that capital gains thing still make you think, nah, I'll save my crypto for the big stuff like a car or a house?
That behavioral choice, spend it or save it, that's going to be fascinating to watch. It determines the velocity, how fast this digital money actually moves through the economy. The tech's there for both, but what people choose to do, that's the big variable now.
Absolutely. And hey, if you found this deep dive into how crypto is reshaping commerce useful or, surprising,
Yeah.
we'd really appreciate your support.
Yeah, it helps a lot.
Clicking subscribe, leaving a comment, giving us a like, it genuinely helps us out. It tells the algorithms people are watching, helps the channel grow, and honestly, it lets us keep putting in the time to research and bring you these kinds of detailed looks into what's really happening in crypto.
The pace has been incredible. 2025 really feels like just the beginning of this whole spending era.
For sure. We'll catch you on the next deep dive into the sources.